Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to Yoga Flow. We're gonna do some gentle back bends. So when you see the word back bend, don't let it scare you. It's gonna be an uplifting kind of back bend, or heart opener as they're sometimes referred to. And some side bends that help strengthen the core, and we'll work on balance, and we're gonna have fun with that too. So don't let balance intimidate you either. So find a spot on the mat, and if you don't have a mat, no worries. Just carve out a little space where you can breathe and just be. And we'll start with a little breathing because it's the middle of the week, and it's always good to kind of decompress from the day and do a little resetting through some breath work. So you can sit comfortably, however comfortable, whatever comfortable seated position works for you, whether that's sitting cross-legged or legs out front or butterfly pose. And just take a moment to make any adjustments so that you can let your shoulders relax, lift your heart, and let the crown of the head stretch up towards the sky. And then let your eyes close or just soften your gaze, whatever is most comfortable. And first, just observe the breath. Just start to acknowledge the flow of breath. Our normal breathing is usually fairly shallow, and we're not really using our full lung capacity. So we're going to focus these next breaths on using the fullest capacity of our lungs as possible. So you want to think of inflating a balloon, and that process happens slowly. So think of inhaling to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and then holding that breath and seeing if you can sip in a little more air. And then when we exhale, we're also going to exhale slowly to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. And think of this breath like the sides of a triangle. Every part is equal. So it's basically an inhale to the count of 4. We're going to hold to the count of 4 and exhale to the count of 4. So it's completing 3 sides of a triangle, if you like a visual. So we're going to inhale to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do 2 more of these together. Inhale to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. And slowly exhale. Notice when you breathe in, your posture should rise a bit. When you hold, you become very aware of the breath. When you exhale, a sense of calm and relaxation should come over you. Let's take 1 more together. Inhale. Hold. Exhale slowly. Keeping the eyes closed, bring the hands to heart center, taking a moment to set your intention as a way to focus your mind on what this practice is focusing on. What is going to make this time on the mat even more meaningful to you? And then on your next inhale, let your arms reach up above your head. Let your eyes open if they're closed. Let your arms reach out. And we're going to bring the hands behind. Grab hold of the waist, point the elbows behind, lift the chin and chest, just take a slight little back bend. And we'll just do a couple more of these. Hands come back to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, circle the hands down and around. And then hands grab hold of the waist, elbows point behind, slight back bend. And then 1 more. Hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, circle the hands down and around. Hands relaxed to the low back. And then from here, hands are going to come all the way down to the mat behind you or floor behind you. And then let's take the feet out in front as well. Let the knees kind of rock side to side. So if you're practicing on this Wednesday, or probably anytime, it might be the same Thursday, it's chilly outside. I'm gonna have a hard time letting go of my second layer, but we are gonna warm up and build some heat. So if you have any layers to peel off, you can release those. And then let's take a little practice of a back bend. Let's get the AirPods in. So your hands, and then just start to lift your chin and chest. So you should feel just a lengthening in the spine as well as through the throat. So this is a supported back bend. We have the hands supporting us. And we're gonna do the same thing in a lot of our poses today. And then we'll take it into the opposite of a back bend. We're gonna curl the belly in. Let the hands just kind of drop over the legs and around the back all the way up through the neck. Taking a breath in here. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath. And exhale. And slowly come back up. We're going to cross the ankles, come onto the knees. We're going to come into a kneeling stance, practicing a little bit more back bend work, but first we'll do a little side bend work. So in a kneeling stance, bring your knees about hip distance apart, so there's space between the legs. Bring the right leg out beside you. This is gate pose. And take a real strong stance. So elevate up through the torso. Back, let's reach the arms up and over the head. So as if someone's pulling on the wrists. Lengthen all the way up. Take a breath in. And exhale, or take it into a side bend. So this is stretching the hips and the side body, the obliques, your intercostal muscles. Keep reaching. Take a breath in. And then exhale. We're gonna reach up and take it over. So make a fist with this left hand. Let the right arm lengthen over the head. Holding here. Another breath in. And then exhale. Bring the arms up. And then this time you can let the right hand come down to the thigh. Let the left arm reach over the ear. And then once more, arms are gonna reach up and take it over. Now here's where you can check your balance. So see if you can reach the arms so they're parallel, and you're gonna notice your obliques kick in, or your entire abdominal muscles will kick in, and then come back up. And bring the hands to the hips. And bring your right knee in. And unripple the mat. Get rippled. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So bring your left foot out. Make sure your foot's kind of flat so you have a pretty good grip of the floor. Lengthen up. Again, as if someone's pulling on both wrists. Reach up and hold here. Take a breath in. Exhale. Take it over into a side bend. Arms stay parallel. Lengthening through the side body, opening through the hips. Take a breath in. Exhale, come back up to center. We're gonna make a fist with this right hand. Reach it down to the ground. Left arm reaches up and over. Lengthen and breathe. And then we bring ourselves back up. And then from here, your left hand comes to the thigh, right arm reaches over, just another version of gate pose. Take a breath in, reach for the fingertips. Hold as you exhale. One more breath. And release. Come back to center, reach both arms up. We're gonna do the same thing we did before, so you can make a fist with this right hand. Left arm reaches over. Now here's where we test balance. Try to make arms parallel. You're gonna feel the abdominal muscles really working here. Try 2 more breaths. And if you need to, touch down before you come back up. Arms reach up. Draw the knee in. Hands down to the hips. Nice work. Point the elbows behind. I'm just gonna turn to the side so you get the back bend view. So with the hands at the hips or fists at the lower back, gently arch the spine. Just a slight little back bend. Think of your heart. If it's shining a light, it shines forward or slightly up. So a back bend does not need to be extreme. You want to think of it as lengthening up first and then just reclining just to the point your back is comfortable and feels good in the stretch without any strain. One more breath. And then release. into a counter stretch, which will be a tabletop pose. So bring your hands down to the mat. You can also make fists if you have sensitive wrists. And then from here, let's take some cat-cows. And our core work is going to be in some side planks today, because this will also help us work on balance. Back to center, and then take a moment and gaze over each shoulder, or one shoulder at a time, towards the hip. And then we'll take some kind of other movements. So you might move forward as if you're leaning over the wrist, and then you might take it back as if you're going to child's pose. And then from here, we're going to come back to our neutral tabletop pose. And we're going to come into a side plank. So bring your right leg behind you, like a little kickstand. Bring your right hand so it lines right underneath the shoulder. Left arm's going to reach up and left foot comes out just like it did in gate pose. So your foot's flat to the mat. And then imagine here, if you had to make your arms parallel, you will notice your core strength right there. So reach up through this left hand as if someone's pulling on it. Hold here. And then just notice if you can, you don't have to lift the right hand completely off the mat, but notice if you can just lighten up the grip and maybe let your fingertips just touch down. Notice how much more your core has to work. Good, holding here, one more breath. And then gently release. And we're gonna take it to the other side. So we're gonna be backwards for this one. Turning your left leg behind you. Left hand, or left wrist aligns underneath the shoulder. Right arm reaches up, right foot extends out. And again, you want to pretend as if your arms are having to reach out just like we did in that modified gate pose. See if you can just lighten up the grip, coming up on your fingertips. And notice how much more your core engages. 2 more breaths. And release. Come back onto all fours. And then from here, we're going to sit back into child's pose. Walk the hands forward. Let your forehead come down to the mat. And then walk the palms together. Bend your elbows and let the palms come to the back of the neck. And then we're going to take a few deep breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, remember your intention. Exhale. One more breath. Exhale. Extend the arms forward. Lift your head. Come back to hands and knees. We're going to take it into downward facing dog. So make sure your palms are flat, fingers spread wide. You have a good grip onto the mat, and then curl the toes under. And start to pedal out the feet. This is where we often get a little feedback in the body. That's okay, just take it all in and observe. Remember that yoga is all about a non-judgmental awareness. And what we mean by that is just simply observing without analyzing, overthinking, criticizing. Sometimes it's the hardest one to let go of. Non-judgmental awareness. What is something you can be happy about in your body right now? Focus on what you can do rather than limitations or anything else that's negative. And then from here, come forward into your plank pose. You're welcome to drop the knees if you need to, otherwise hold here. And we're going to lower down. So you can either lower knees, then chest and chin, or you can lower slowly into a baby cobra. Lower the palms, curl the toes under, press back up to downward facing dog. And then let's add in some flying pigeons. It's going to build heat in the body as well as stretch the hips and the back. So inhale with your right leg into the air. Exhale, bend the right knee, bring it over to the right wrist. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, reach it up.
Exhale, cross it over. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, bend that knee, open up, three-legged dog. Rotate the ankle. And then lower that foot down. Come forward into plank. Lower down either knees, chest, and chin, or a slow chaturanga. Lift up, cobra, or up dog. Back to down dog. Let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath in. And exhale. Walk the feet a little closer together. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, bend the left knee, draw it up towards the wrist or elbow. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, lean the nose. Inhale, reach it up. Move with control. Don't rush through it, take your time. Exhale, bring it over to the right wrist. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, open up, three-legged dog. Stay strong through the arms. Not collapsing in the shoulders, but elevating. And then lowering that left foot down. Inhale into plank. Take your time here, knees, chest, and chin, or a slow chaturanga. Elbows hugged into the ribs. Take your back bend, even this is a back bend, cobra or up dog. And then we'll rest in child's pose. So notice your breath here. And notice what feels happy in your body. Maybe it feels good to move. And then re-ground the hands. And from here, we're gonna take it up a little bit. So find your way to down dog. Walk the feet together so toes touch. Inhale that right leg up. Exhale, open up to the hip, bend that knee. Take it back to your three-legged dog. So even here, you're doing a bit of a back bend. You know, it's a kind of a hip opener pose. Your back is in that same position of a back bend, with a little bit of a twist. So then from here, draw your right knee in underneath the belly. Step the foot forward between the hands. We're gonna pause here in a runner's lunge. And take a moment to sway the hips if that feels good. And then we're just gently gonna lower that back knee, untuck the back toes. Arms float up, take a breath in. As you exhale, interlace the fingers, send the palms up. And take a little side bend to the left. Come back up to center, take a little side bend to the right. And back up to center, inhale, press the palms up. Exhale, hands come down behind you, so you can interlace the hands behind, take a bind, or you can just let the hands rest on the low back and lift the heart, lift your gaze. 3 more good breaths, really stretching into the hips. And then from here, release, bring your hands down on either side of the right foot, curl your left toes under. Step your way back to plank. Take a slow vinyasa. Lift up in your back bend. Ground your palms. Find your way back to down dog. And holding here. Again, 3 deep cleansing breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Open the mouth and don't be afraid to let it go with a big sigh. Especially middle of the week. It's good to let go of that stagnant energy. 2 more with me here. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more breath. And release the breath. Walk the feet together so toes touch. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, roll the hip open. And then bend the knee. Keep lengthening through the arms. Rotate that ankle. And again, just notice the position of your back. And draw that left knee in. Step it forward between the hands. Pause here. You can take a little runner's lunge and just simply hold, or you can do a little sway if that feels good for your hips.
And then bringing the hips to a neutral position, gently lower that right knee. Arms are gonna float up in your low lunge. Inhale as you interlace the fingers, send the palms up. This time we're gonna take a little side bend to the right. Going to the right first, and then come to center, and take it to the left. And then back to center. Press those palms up, lengthen through the arms. And then hands come down behind. So again, you can grab hold of the waist and point the elbows behind, or interlace the hands behind you. So do what works best for your shoulders. 3 more good breaths here. And then gently release. Hands come down on either side of the left foot. Curl the right toes under. Step your way back to plank. Lower through a vinyasa. Lift up into your back bend. And once again, we'll take child's pose. Take a rest. The nice thing about a back bend practice is because you're doing so many back bends, the counter pose is actually child's pose. So always good to take a lot of rest to keep the spine neutralized and balanced. And we're gonna reground the palms. Find your way back to hands and knees, back to down dog. We're gonna add on here to our flow. Step the feet together so toes touch. Inhale the right leg up. Bend the right knee as you draw it up towards the right elbow. We're back to our flying pigeons. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, lean a nose. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, cross it over. This time you're gonna send that leg through and just pause here. If you wish, you can lift up into fallen triangle. So lifting the left arm up. 2 more breaths. Another stretch for the hip. And lower down. With your core strength, draw your knee in. Send that right leg straight up. You're gonna keep it just straight this time. Press the left heel down, pause there. Take a breath in. As you exhale, come forward to plank. So you can keep this right leg elevated, or you can lower it down. Just an added challenge if you want it. Take your vinyasa. Back to down dog. Take a deep breath into the nose. Let it go with a sigh. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, take the left leg up. Exhale, bend the knee, draw it up towards the left wrist. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, lean a nose. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, cross it over, thread that leg through, pause here, or let the right arm reach up, fallen triangle. 2 more breaths. Breathe and stay strong. Lower that hand down, draw the left knee in, stretch the left leg high, press the right heel down, and then again come forward to plank. You're welcome to keep that left leg slightly elevated or not. Lower through your vinyasa, lift up to your back bend, child's pose once again. Breathe. So notice again, what is something you're happy about right now? There's a reason for this. And tie in with what I'll read later in our practice. There's a great description of happiness. It says, happiness comes when we stop complaining about the troubles we have and offer thanks for the troubles we don't have. Think of something you are grateful for. It's often said the root of joy is based in gratitude. So think of something you could be thankful for about your body. And be thankful for what your body can do, even if some of the balance becomes challenging. Just be thankful for your body's attempt. From here, we're going to find our way back to down dog. From your down dog, walk your feet together so the toes touch. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, roll that hip open, bend that knee, 3-legged dog. And then draw this knee in towards the chest. Step the foot forward. This time we're going to a warrior stance. So back foot flattens to the mat. Arms are going to reach up in warrior 2. shoulders relax. And then make sure this front knee is tracking over the ankle. Sometimes knees have a tendency to fall inward, so just take the hand, just make sure it aligns right over the ankle, and that's gonna give your stance even more strength. So pausing here, find what width works for your legs. You wanna feel enough that like the legs are working, building heat and energy and strength, and also not so much that you can't balance. So it should be a little bit of work, but you're still able to hold it. From here, turn your front palm up. Let your left arm reach over the right. We're gonna just keep the arms parallel, taking a breath in. As you exhale, both arms are gonna reach up and take it over to your left. So it's almost like your arms are just kind of waving like banners. Come back up to center. Take it to the right. Now, if you wish, you can take a side angle or modified side angle, bringing the elbow to the thigh, and then try to spin your collarbones open. And if you want to keep arms parallel, you're rocking your core right now. Keep breathing. And then turn your left palm up. You're just going to go through that warrior two, take it behind. So again, if you wish, you can bring the hand to the thigh and keep the arms parallel. One more breath. And release. Arms are going to come back up to center. Reach them back out in warrior two. Straighten your front leg, turn your toes so they point forward. Hinge at the hips. Soften in the knees and come halfway down to a flat back. Take a moment and lunge side to side. I must have moved a bit. My mat is like crooked. That can happen sometimes. So from here, come back to center, bend the knees so that you're using the strength of the legs to come up. From here, hands come behind you, so you can again grab hold of the low back and lift the heart, or you can cross the thumbs or interlace fingers. So we're doing a back bend and a wide-legged forward fold. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, soften the knees. Hinge at the hips, this time letting the arms come overhead, or they can rest in the back if that's better for the shoulders. Then a couple options. If you like, you can sway the arms or the shoulders. And if you'd rather, you can keep the arms still and let the legs sway. So choose what feels best. And gently release. Let the hands come over to your right foot again. You're going to spin your right toes forward. We're coming back to our warrior stance. Only this time, arms are going to float up by the ears for warrior one. Interlace the fingers, send the palms up. You're going to take a little side bend to the right. This is testing balance. Inhale back to center. And exhale, take it to the left. Inhale back to center. Press the palms up to a slight little back bend so you can keep the arms overhead, or the hands can come behind and open the heart. From here, hinge at the hips. Bow forward over that front leg. Let's hold here for a couple breaths. And then release the hands down. Spin the left toes so they point forward. We're going to pull that right leg all the way back into our plank. From here, lower down, slow vinyasa. Lift back up. Find your way to child's pose. Breathe. And then back into your downward facing dog. Walk the feet together so the toes touch. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, roll the hip open, three-legged dog. And then draw the knee in towards the belly. Help or step that foot forward. Flatten the back foot to the mat. So you've got your warrior stance. Arms are going to windmill up into warrior two. Again, adjust your stance. So make sure your feet have a good grip of the ground. Your knee is tracking over your ankle and your left leg. Gaze out over your left fingertips. Shoulders relaxed, but arms strong. Reaching out from the arm sockets.
From here, your left palm turns up, your right arm's gonna reach forward, so arms are parallel. Hold here, good core strength. Breathe. And then turn your right palm up, let it lead as you take it back. Both arms parallel, reaching back behind you. And then again, right or left palm turns up. You can take it forward this time if you want, elbow to the thigh, spin the collarbones open, side angle. 2 more breaths here. Turn your right palm up, let it lead as you take it behind. Modified reverse warrior, so you can either have the hand in the thigh or arms parallel. Breathe. And then arms come back up to center, let them separate, warrior 2. From here, straighten the front legs, spin the toes so they point forward. Soften the knees, spin around. From here, take a little lunge side to side, just working the hips. Come to center, keep that bend in the knees and use the strength of your legs to roll up to standing. From here, arms reach up and then take them behind. So they can either interlace behind you or you can just grab hold of the low back, point the elbows behind. Take a back bend, lifting the chest and chin. Breathe. And then slowly take it forward. So as you come into that forward fold, always important to bend the knees and hinge at the hips. And you're fully in your wide-legged forward fold with arms rested in the back or overhead. You decide if you want to sway the shoulders or the hips. And then notice what feels good in your body in this movement. And if it feels really tight, no worries. Just be glad you're trying something new. Testing your limits. And then come back to center. Release your hands down. You're going to walk your hands over to your left foot. Put your left toes to the front of the mat. I turned around, so I'm facing the other direction, but you're good wherever you are. Arms are going to reach up in warrior 1. Take a breath in. Exhale, interlace the fingers and the palms up. And then again, we just test balance, taking a little side bend to the right. Just arching up and over. Inhale back to center. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, keep reaching the arms up, or take the hands behind if you wish. 2 more breaths in your warrior 1 back bend. From here, we're going to bow forward, almost like humble warrior, but we're going to lean right over that leg. Lower the hands down. Spin your back toes so they point forward. Step your way back to plank. Lower through your vinyasa. Child's pose. Once again. So take a moment in this child's pose to remember your intention. Just reconnect with it for this next breath. And then take a moment of gratitude for what your body can do. And just change your mindset to what you can be happy about. What is making you happy in this moment within your practice. From here, find your way back onto hands and knees. We're going to come back to our planks. So bring your right leg, spin around. Your right leg's coming behind you. Right hand underneath the shoulder. Left leg extended out. And left arm reaching up. Now notice if you can almost eliminate the right arm from being on the ground, or just come up to your fingertips. And then if you want, take that arm over the ear. So we did this in the very beginning. Can you reach your arms parallel? Couple breaths. And then we'll lower down. sides. The left leg comes behind, left arm underneath, right arm reaches up. First lighten up under the fingertips, hold here, then let the right arm reach over the ear, maybe the left arm comes parallel. Couple more breaths. Lower the hand down. Find your way back to tabletop. Now it's going to feel good to have both hands on the ground, right? So from here, come back to your kneeling stance. And simply bring the hands behind you. Point the elbows behind. Start to lift the heart. And those of you that want to curl your toes under and maybe try to reach for your heels, go for it, but don't force it. Focus on more of the lengthening up. In fact, if you want to reach your arms up by your ears and then just tilt back and lower your hands back down for support. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to slowly straighten the spine. Now from here, lower your hips to the heels. We're going to do a rabbit pose. So this is the extreme counter pose for a back bend. So you might, if this is new to you, you might look so you get a visual of what you're aiming for. You want the crown of the head lightly on the mat while you're rounding your upper back and reaching for your heels. So to come into it, gently lower your head, lift your hips off your heels enough that you can lift the crown of the head flat to the mat. Reach your hands back for your heels. And then by holding onto the heels and arching the spine, holding here, taking 3 good deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath. And as you exhale, release your hands. Lean back on your heels. Take your time coming up because you were really upside down. That's like an extreme inversion. And just roll your shoulders up and back. Hopefully that feels good. That's called rabbit pose. If that doesn't feel good, you can always take child's pose as an option. So now from here, we get a little bit more flow left before we cool down. So we're going to return to those flying pigeons. So bring your palms flat to the mat. Come back onto hands and knees. Curl your toes under, come into your plank. Notice where your wrists are. Ideally, they're right underneath the shoulders. Keep the hands where they are as you lift your hips. Come into down dog with the arms lengthened. Strong core and a lot of emphasis on stretching from the hips to the heels. Big breath in. Slow breath out. Breathing in and out. One more. And then back to our flying pigeon. So walk the feet together so toes touch. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, bend the right knee. Draw it slowly up towards the right wrist. Inhale, reach it up to the sky. Exhale, draw it in knee to nose. Inhale, stretch it up. Exhale, cross it over. Send that leg through. This time, we're going to lower the hip all the way down. Lower the elbows down. So your legs should make an L, or the legs are perpendicular to one another. Elbows on the ground. Head and neck relaxed. So this should feel like a really good stretch. And if you need to modify, by all means, please do. Breathe here. More breaths. So hopefully this stretch feels good. Definitely taking deeper breaths will help relax you into the pose. Hopefully finding that goodness. And then slowly lock the hands in. Now remember, core strength is going to help get us back into that down dog. So press the palms into the mat, lifting the hips. Draw that right knee in. Stretch that right leg high. Open up, three-legged dog. Now those of you that want to flip your dog, you can pivot and take a wild thing. If that's too extreme, then just hold your three-legged dog and focus on opening more through the hip. Wild things, focus on the lifting of the heart, the arch of the back, and breath. And we're going to slowly find our way back into down dog. Lower that foot, come forward into plank, lower through your vinyasa, into child's pose. And coming back to tabletop so we can even out on the other side. So curling the toes under and lifting knees and hips. Walk the feet a little closer together, lengthen through the spine, just feel the length in your down dog. So length from wrist to shoulders, length from shoulders to tailbone, and from hips to heels. And then slowly lift the left leg up. Bend that left knee as you draw it forward to the left wrist. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, cross it over, thread the leg through, and this time we'll lower the hip down to the ground, and then you can lower the elbows right below it. So pausing here. And if your elbows don't come all the way down to the ground, no worries. You can always have a block underneath them, or you can just stay up on the hands. I just find it's a little more comfortable for the back to have it elbows even to the ground if they'll reach there. Remember your breath. I promised some words about happiness. Grab my book. Similar words, similar quote to the one I read in the beginning. We tend to forget that happiness doesn't come as a result of getting something we don't have, but rather of recognizing and appreciating what we do have. So we have 3 more breaths. Let's be grateful for those and the effects on the body and the mind. Walk the hands up. Remember, core strength helps get us out of this pose. It got us in, it's going to get us out. So slowly lift the hips. Use your core strength to draw that left knee in. Stretch it up, open it up. Oh, three-legged dog. Or those that want to pivot and take it into wild thing, go for it. If you'd rather stay in three-legged dog, totally fine. Child's pose is always an option too. 2 more breaths. We're going to slowly spin it back to down dog and take it through a slow vinyasa, right back into child's pose. Hips to heels, arms forward. Remember your intention and notice what feels happy in your body and what feels happy in your mind. And for the moment, swing the arms behind you. So reach your hands back through your heels, let your shoulders relax.
to one side, and we're going to come onto our backs. So settling onto your back. Let your knees just gently sway side to side. So arms reach down by your sides. And knees gently sway. We're going to rebalance the spine in a nice twist. That'll feel good after some back bending and side bending. But before we do that, stretch your legs down the mat. Reach your arms up above your head. And we're just going to arch the body over to the right. And just hold here. This is actually a yin pose. We won't hold it as long as we do in yin, but just notice how it feels to be in the side bend. You're completely supported by the ground. Another breath. And then we reach the arms back up through center. We're going to take it over to the left. Gentle arch. So if it helps, you can grab hold of the wrist, so the left wrist grabs the right, or sorry, left hand grabs the right wrist. One more breath. And then bring it back to center. There's even a little core strength involved there. Bend your knees once again. Keep your arms elevated, or your arms reaching up above the head, but the hands can touch down. And then elevate the hips, lifting into bridge pose. And if it feels good, sway the hips, otherwise just hold. Take a breath in, reaching up to the fingertips, squeezing the glutes. And then as you exhale, stay in your bridge, so keep the hips elevated. Let the arms come down by your sides. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath. You can either reach for your heels, or those of you that like to interlace your hands underneath you, go for it. And one more breath. And lower down. Draw your knees in. This is usually a very happy pose and happy part of the practice. So bravo if you stuck with it this long, that's awesome. Not always easy in a home practice to stick with it. There's so many distractions, but that's part of the practice, is figuring out how do I tune out distractions and stay tuned in to my own movement, my own breath, intention. And speaking of happy, we'd be remiss if we didn't take happy baby. So let's take the knees wide, take the arms through the legs or inside the knees, grab hold of the feet or the ankles, and gently rock. So it's called happy baby for a reason. Babies are always happy when they're in this position. And usually when we do happy baby, at least in my practices, it's towards the end of the practice, which means you've made it through the grueling parts, the balance and all the planks and down dogs, so bravo. And we'll just bring the feet together, release the hands. From here we're going to grab hold of just the right leg, let the left, oops, I'm sorry, let's take it the other way. We always want to twist right to left. So take your left knee into your chest, stretch your right leg down the mat. And then with your right hand, guide the left knee across the body. So your leg might hang out off the ground, or if the knee or the foot touches down, great. If you have a block, you can look at your rest on a block. It's up to you. And then most importantly, your opposite arm. So your left leg is reaching to one side, your left arm is reaching out at shoulder level. You're turning your head in the opposite direction of your leg. And then just relax into this twist.
similar to when we were in the fallen triangle pose when we were right on our hip, try to settle into the pose as best you can. So if it takes adjusting your shoulders a bit, feel free to do so. And then relax into your breath. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. You reach a point where it feels really good and you can just stay there, and you can, you're at home, so you can stay in the twist on this side if you want. I'm going to switch to the other side. So if you're coming with me, you can bring the knee to center, stretch the leg out. Let's take a full body lengthening stretch in between sides. So big inhale through the nose, open the mouth and let it go. And now we'll draw the right knee into the chest, holding it there, and then with your left hand, you're going to guide that right knee across the body. Again, the knee can rest on a prop or a pillow, or it can just hang out over the floor. It can hover. I just find when I have a block underneath it, I tend to relax into the twist a little more. And then your right arm reaches out at shoulder level, your head's turning in the opposite direction as your leg is twisting. And then all you have to do here is relax and breathe and enjoy. Feel free to close the eyes and notice again what feels happy in your body. What is your state of mind? And how has your intention served you by bringing focus to your practice and a meaning to this time on the mat? Let's take 3 more breaths in this twist. And then again, if it feels too good to get out of the twist, you can stay right here. This is a great pose if you want to hold it longer. It'll serve you well. If you're coming out of it with me, you can once again draw both knees into the chest. This time just rock your knees gently side to side. And then gently let your feet come back down to the mat. This time take your feet wider. So if you're on a mat, about mat distance apart, arms can come out at shoulder level, and just let your knees sway slowly enough that you're stretching into the hips as the legs go side to side. Ooh, excuse me, I'm gonna yawn, end of the day yawn. Not because of the company who's ever joining me, but just middle of the week yawn. And then from here, you have reached the lovely relaxation, Shavasana. So you can stretch your legs down the mat. You might take 1 full body lengthening stretch one more time, taking a breath in and let it go. And then you might bring your hands to the belly, or one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. Legs can splay out to the sides, or soles of the feet can come together. You choose how you take your relaxation. Most importantly, take some time for relaxation, even if it's just a couple minutes. 10 minutes is ideal, particularly after a flow. And always take a couple moments to let the benefits of your practice become absorbed in the body and the mind. Relax the muscles through the face, softening the jaw, releasing any tension in the forehead. Relax the space behind the ears, down through the neck, into the shoulders. Relax both arms, down through the elbows, the wrists, and each fingertip. Relax the space around the heart. Being mindful of the rise and fall of each breath. Relaxing the belly. Relax from the hips. Down through the legs, into the knees, the ankles, and through all 10 toes. Notice how happy the mind can be when the body is still. Taking a moment of gratitude to appreciate what you have, what your body can do, and the strength of your mind. Letting go of judgment, and instead just using awareness to focus on what is happy about this moment. Stay in relaxation as long as you wish. If you wish to come out of it, you gently find your way onto one side. Get a rest in a fetal position. Noticing again the effects of your practice on your body, mind, and spirit. Staying here as long as you wish, or very gently pressing yourself back up to that same seated position we started in, coming full circle
Eyes can remain closed or gaze softened. Bringing your hands to heart center. Let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. And one more. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Holding your hands at heart center. Take your now open heart off the mat into the world, where the goodness, strength, and balance from your practice will continue to benefit you. May the positive energy and peace of mind also extend to those around you. Bow forward in gratitude for your practice. Rise up, open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I will see you Saturday for Yoga Flow.